How's it going, everyone? Want to talk about some drama that's been going on in the PlayStation world. Man, Astrobot came out to such a wide, universal praise. I think everybody that has played the game has really been enjoying it. I get the criticism as well, as far as it being a $60 game. You can complete it in 10 to 12 hours. Getting the Platinum Trophy isn't going to extend the experience all that much. I would also push back and say I don't remember this level of dissatisfaction with Ratchet Rift Apart. I did remember people say that Ratchet Rift Apart was a $70 game and was very short, but I'm of the mindset that all games of shapes and sizes can exist as far as game length goes. If that is a metric you want to use to quantify the value of the game to you, by all means, have at it. For me and my personal take, and I think a lot of people are in agreement with this, especially as I'm getting older and have more of a finite time, and I am obviously in a very luxurious position where I play video games, and like a lot of video games, I do prefer, or I do appreciate games that are trying to be a little bit shorter, have their scope in check, and still be a quality-filled experience. But again, you have your bigger games, you have your smaller games. Astrobot is something I think PlayStation didn't need, but it's certainly a nice addition into the PlayStation catalog of games, and I think a lot of people are finding that level of enjoyment as well. On top of that, it being a celebration of PlayStation's history and legacy, think if you are a little bit of an older gamer, if you're in your late 20s, 30s, 40s, or even 50s, and you've been playing on PlayStation for a long time, the callbacks, the pulling at the nostalgic heartstrings, I think it does a really good job at that. However, Days Gone director John Garvin necessarily doesn't agree with how Deacon was presented in Astrobot. Ben Studio put out a tweet, "His job is beach. Big congrats to our friends Team Asabi on the launch of Astrobot." And John Garvin quote tweets it, "Kinda sad that Deke has been reduced to promoting other games. Well done, Ben Studio. Way to protect your legacy." That's a little bit wild, but if it could get worse, it did. Somebody responded saying, "Calm down, my brother. It's not because Sony doesn't have the prestige in producing Days Gone 2 that you need to be harsh with the entire studio like that. You were the creative director of the game. You brought this character to life. Don't keep that magic stored away." That seems like a very, very reasonable, calm take, and he responded, "Haha, I see my character reduced to a cartoon shill promoting some small game and I'm being harsh. Sit down, my brother. Adults are talking." I'm sorry, but this is just an absolutely insane take. Think what you want about Days Gone, and I did think Days Gone was a good game. However, this is levels of having your head up your own butt that I don't even know what really to say. Look, Astrobot is a celebration of PlayStation. All of the IPs presented in Astrobot are to celebrate, are to commemorate a lot of the legacy of PlayStation, and Days Gone being presented in some way, that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. It just promotes the game even more. It presents the game even more. It's not a slight on the game. Look, Days Gone 2 isn't coming to fruition because Sony looked at Days Gone's reception and its commercial numbers, and it wasn't in line with what they wanted out of the game. Now, ultimately, we do know that Days Gone sold north of 7 million copies by, I believe it was 2022. That is an incredibly successful number at the surface, but at the same time, you look at the sales numbers of other incredibly successful PlayStation IPs. You want to look at Uncharted, you want to look at Horizon, God of War. Days Gone didn't resonate at that level, and I'm not saying games need to resonate at that level. I don't think that is a sustainable model. I don't think every game can be at the level of those aforementioned franchises, and I think mid-level games have to exist, and it would be worthwhile for them to exist. But at the same time, what I've always said about more variety of these games is a smaller scale, a smaller scope. That is not what Days Gone was. Days Gone very much had a gigantic budget attached to it, and it was designed to be another massive franchise for Sony, and another game that, I don't know exactly, but that 200 million number gets thrown out a lot. The game was in development for several years, and the thing is, there's also that element of, yes, I did like Days Gone, but I also like The Order 1886. Like, I really like The Order 1886 for what it was, and I like Days Gone for what it was, but at the same time, I think everybody needs to come to a conclusion and an understanding that there's a reason why follow-ups don't exist. There was a reception attached to the order. There was a reception attached to Days Gone. And when you have that reception, it's harder to build upon that than if this game was this 90 plus Metacritic success. And I get it, Metacritic ratings aren't the be-all end-all. For Sony, that is obviously a metric that they look at and they very much do assess. And Days Gone 7 million, that is an incredibly successful number, but when games are costing so much money to develop, I guess Sony deemed that it was better to pivot. But whether or not Days Gone 2 should happen, I would like to see a Days Gone 2. That is irrelevant to the point of Deacon or Days Gone being presented in Astrobot. This is just such a wild take, and not understanding that Astrobot, again, is a celebration of PlayStation. And to get this level of salty, like, yo, check the ego for a second. Days Gone's a good game, but I think most people would agree it's not this amazing blowaway game, and Deacon was never going to be this absolutely elite PlayStation mascot. At least I don't believe so. I don't think Deacon was shaping up to be a Joel. I don't think Deacon was shaping up to be a Kratos, or even an Aloy, or any of these characters. I think Days Gone is a good game for what it is, but as far as the best PlayStation titles that have been put out, Days Gone was a level below. I think most people would agree with that, and that is subjective. If you think Days Gone was just as good as the Tsushimas, the Horizons, the Last of Us of the world, more power to you. But I also do believe the general consensus and how you perceive games is always going to be a little bit, you know, subjective, but I feel like most people would agree Days Gone was a level below a lot of the other premier PlayStation titles. And yeah, I would love to have seen Sony put resources towards a Days Gone 2 over putting resources towards a Concord, but it is what it is. It's probably never going to happen, but at the very least, appreciate your game being showcased in a game that's being so widely and universally praised. It's not a slight to Days Gone, it's not a slight to Deacon, but presenting Days Gone and having it promoted in Astrobot and having a callback to it, that's a lot easier to do than, let's say, a Days Gone 2. You know, Days Gone 2 never got greenlit, and I can understand why. Just like I can understand why the Order 1886 2 didn't get greenlit, or the Order 1887. You know, these things happen, and it is what it is, but I don't think there's any reason to be upset like this over the game in John Garvin's eyes, or the character of Deacon being reduced to promoting other games. And it certainly doesn't hurt Ben Studio's legacy. Ben Studio has done a lot of great work. People appreciate what Ben's brought to the table. They've got another game in development. Hopefully that turns out well. It's just they're not doing a Days Gone 2, and I don't think their legacy is tarnished by being presented in Astrobot. But that's going to do it for me. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, thanks for watching. Sound off down below, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.